Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Sumney, the Chief Industry Officer for HomeSmart International, and have I got a special treat for you all today on the Real Estate Podcast. Today's topic is going to be about the first 5 steps of the sale for a buyer. And in studio with us today, we have Tina Valient. Tina runs the TKay Group out of Phoenix, Arizona. And Tina is amazing at working with buyers and actually getting them to engage and getting them to move forward in the transaction. And Tina has created this amazing curriculum that is 16 steps of how you move a buyer from the first time you meet them to actually conducting the transaction. And today, Tina's going to share with us the first 5 steps of working with a buyer. So Tina, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. I want to tell you all real quick about how I first started working with Tina. Not too long ago, I think it was about beginning of the year, I think about 8 months ago, we did a business builder, and it was titled Open House Success, How to Promote, Dazzle, Convert. And Tina and the TKay Group, they do an amazing amount of open house business. They are masters at promoting before an open house, dazzling at the open house, converting after the open house. And if you haven't yet seen that webinar or the hour-long, I think we recorded an hour-long podcast and webinar, it is filled with so much information. So I urge you, go look that one up, listen to it. Today, though, what we're going to do is we're going to focus in on that part about dazzling at the event, right? Or engaging that customer when you first meet them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about you, though. Your team right now conducts about 21 to 29 open houses a week.
Yes.
You're on track to do an amazing amount of business this year. And your tagline, I love, talks about purely open houses and relationships. Why did you choose that tagline?
I feel that relationships are a huge part of real estate, and I feel like it's a forgotten art. And especially with all the online companies and the different competitions, so to speak, that we have, agents are starting to really panic about that when they shouldn't. People still want relationships. They still want hand-holding. They still want that customer service level that unfortunately a lot of agents have forgotten, which is why I came up with all of this to begin with, was to get back to the basics of how to build relationships with people.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, all the data and the studies that I see, the human element, the relationship aspect is actually becoming more important the more technology we have, the more information that we have. Information on the internet is duplicated tens of thousands of times, the same information. And oftentimes it's duplicated incorrectly. It's incorrect information, and it's frustrating, and it's frustrating to our consumer. And so I was just at a conference 2 weeks ago in Austin, Texas, and they were talking about how important the human element is to the real estate transaction. And it's the relationship that we really all need to keep at the center of everything we're doing in real estate. So that's why I love your tagline so much. And I just love hearing how you are working with agents to help them remember that. On that note, you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a trainer. Can you give everyone a little bit of a background real quick of way back when you first got into the industry, teaching? You've been an instructor for many years. So take us way back to Florida, way back when.
Oh my goodness.
Time shares.
Yeah. In 2001, I actually got my real estate license in Orlando because I got a job with a timeshare company, and I didn't even know what timeshare was. I had no idea. I was actually voted least likely to succeed in my training class.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I didn't have the wardrobe. I didn't have the look.
Oh my goodness.
And
That's great.
one thing that they completely underestimated was my determination. And I went out and learned the process, learned the sales process. And when everybody else was sitting in the back room, like just hanging out, playing cards and just kind of sitting there chit-chatting and wasting time. I was listening to every sales book I could find. I was listening to Brian Tracy's one of my favorites.
Right.
So I learned how to negotiate. I learned anything and everything I could about closing and what that means. I had no idea.
Right.
Within 2 months, I made it to the top 10 of the resort out of 228 agents and maintained that for the next 5 to 6 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Great. And then from there, I think you went into banking. Is that right?
No, so I became a timeshare trainer over time. And
that's right. Training.
And don't hate me, guys, that I was in timeshare, because honestly, I was like totally naive to even what it was. But I went into training and found that I loved helping people be successful. And that became kind of a passion of mine.
Right.
I had a terrible car accident in 2006.
Okay.
Lost everything, including my house, before there were programs. And when I found out that there were loan modification programs, I was like, wait a minute, you mean I can help people that went through what I just went through? Because I remember the fear of thinking they were just going to come kick me out of my house. So I went into law offices and learned everything I could about foreclosure defense in Florida. It's a judicial state. Learned everything I could about the defenses and negotiating loans, and started building law offices for 10 years.
Wow.
And I became literally one of the experts across the country in loan modifications and short sale negotiations, and continued my real estate license as well, helped the attorneys buy things and, things like that, became a referral agent.
Okay.
And between the negotiating with the law offices and actually me personally saving over 1,000 families from losing their homes, not including the teams that I built.
Wow.
I kind of ran out of steam after 10 years. Like, there was not as much business. There's still foreclosures in Florida, but it just wasn't a passion of mine anymore. I got kind of bored. And so I was referring out at least one transaction a week that was closing in real estate. Okay. And I have to tell you, most of my friends in Florida told me that I would never be able to be a general realtor.
Really?
Ever. They told me that I didn't have the patience and that I didn't have the drive.
You?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So
fast forward, you came out here to Arizona at some point, and
I came out here to Arizona, activated my license in January of 2017 as an associate broker.
Okay.
And decided that I was going to master real estate in Arizona.
Okay.
So I sold 42 properties that year by myself, not including the couple of team members that I had.
And this is by yourself, right?
Yep, by myself.
42 homes. That's amazing. Yep. Year one.
Yeah, year one. I was like nominated for like Rookie of the Year for the state of Arizona or something crazy.
Right.
I was like, what? Really? Okay. I was just doing what I do.
Right.
One of the best things that I did was hire my assistant. I hired a full-time assistant, and that tripled my production.
I've heard that from so many top producing agents, that the best thing they ever did was hire their assistant. And then they expanded to a team or grew and whatever. But what made you realize or decide at some point that you needed that assistant, and more importantly, that it was important to invest in your business in that manner?
That's a great question. At that point, I think I had sold it was like the summertime. I think I was at 10 transactions, but I started getting really, really busy, and all of my business was coming in from the open houses that I was doing. One day I went and showed 3 different people properties. I didn't get finished till 9 o'clock. When I was complete, I had 26 text messages and 29 voicemails.
Right.
And I just started crying on the way home.
Right.
And I was like, I want to give top-notch level service. Mm-hmm. I don't want to let anything fall through the cracks. And at this point, if I'm going to truly do this, I need to have somebody literally sitting in my passenger seat answering my phone so that I can give my attention to my clients. And that's what we do, even today, to this day.
Right. Right. And that's one of the things that I guess I see in top producers like you, is they have the vision to see that, and they hire that assistant or they hire that help earlier, because I think some people maybe they're trying to figure out, oh, I don't have enough business yet to do that, or how am I going to do that? But knowing that when you make that step, then you are providing better service, which kind of is like that snowball rolling down the hill, getting bigger, and more business seems to follow, right? So it's doing it earlier rather than later.
Absolutely. People were like, are you sure? You've only had like 10 transactions. And then within 6 months, I was at 42
Right.
because I hired her.
Right.
And I mean, she was sitting in the passenger seat answering the calls that came in. She was setting up my showings, giving me my planos so that when I'm going out and showing properties, my clients and I have all the information.
Love it.
And she literally tripled my production. And to this day, I'm so thankful for her because she literally runs my life.
Right.
So
that's great. That's great. Well, let's get to today's topic a little bit. I just wanted everyone to understand a little bit about you and about your story, and promise me that you're going to come back to a future podcast, come back into the studio, and let's talk about how you, if you're willing, put you on the spot here, talk about how you grew a team.
Okay.
How did you start? How did you get it going? And how you grew your business. But today, let's focus. I want to show you real quick, if you're following on YouTube and you can see some of the screens, these are some of the examples of Tina's open house marketing. I love the fact that it's always multiple properties, it's multiple listings and topics. Like even right here, you have winter and beautiful weather, in Arizona. The flyers and the marketing that you do is just amazing. So let's dig into today's topic, the first 5 steps of the buyer process. But right out of the gate, I just want you all to know that Tina, not only is she an author, but she's an instructor. She does see some of these amazing classes, and she has a class going on right now called The 16 Secret Steps of Selling Real Estate. It really walks you through the 16 steps of that buyer journey. And, even is there seller parts to that as well, or is it mostly focused on the buyer?
It's mostly focused on the buyer.
Okay.
The next one that I'm developing will be for the listing and how to get listing appointments as well as close them.
Okay.
So that'll be the next training that I come up with.
Got it. Great. Well, the thing I guess I want all of you to urge all of you is that if you ever have an opportunity to attend one of Tina's classes here in Arizona, please don't miss that opportunity. In my mind, it's a must-attend class. It's a great investment in your business. And up on the screen, if you're following on YouTube, we have a flyer showing the next class. Now, you have some upcoming classes.
I do.
Next week is, what are the dates for next week?
Next week, hold on, we have it here. It is November 5th and 6th.
Okay.
And then we have the next one coming up December 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
And I actually have some brokers flying in from different parts of the country to attend that one.
Great.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
That's amazing.
Yes,
that's
the one
awesome.
from Florida that I used to do business with.
Oh, that's great.
So he's coming in to start utilizing this to train his agents that he hires on in the beginning of the year.
Right. That's great. Okay, so there's your opportunity. All of you can fly into Arizona, do this. Now, in the future too, I think there's maybe some talk about trying to do some online things and delivering some of this content online. So we will share back with you, the audience, later about ways that you can participate in this knowledge remotely.
Sure.
But for today, let's dig into these steps 1 to 5 of the 16 steps. And the impetus for doing this podcast was, I saw Tina speak recently at one of our office meetings, a regional meeting of 3 or 4 offices in the area. And she was going through these first 5 steps, sharing with everyone her knowledge. And then you told me a story last week about how you stopped in at an open house.
It wasn't me. It was one of my agents.
Okay, one of your agents.
Yep.
But one of the agents had seen you speak and was applying these steps 1 to 5, and your team got to experience it firsthand.
Yes.
And it was just great to see your impact on that agent. The agent was so happy that you shared these 5 first steps of the process, right?
Yes.
And he was talking about how it really works. And so we thought we would have you into the studio and share those first 5 steps with everyone.
Well, and anything
no matter what market you're in,
right?
This works, right? No matter where you are in the country.
And I'm happy to share the first 5 steps, because when you're when you're setting up your open house, the biggest thing that you have to remember is this. The potential clients are actually scared of you. And that's something that agents don't want to face.
Right.
But these people are sitting in their cars and they are coming up with the story
Right.
that they want to tell you so that you won't bombard them with trying to get their information.
Yep.
So, and we actually have had witnessed that firsthand as well.
Right.
So we call that task tension. Their task tension is very high when they walk in.
Right.
They're going to treat you kind of like a car salesperson or somebody that's high pressure sales.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of the first 5 steps is to bring their task tension down so that they'll open up to you and the truth will come out.
Right. Because they will often not tell the truth. Right?
Exactly. I was
Right.
just at a listing appointment a few months ago with one of my agents, and it was so funny because the clients actually sat there and told us that they lied when they walked in.
Right.
They told us the whole story that they had come up with in the car, and my agents, I had 3 agents there shadowing, and they were like, oh my goodness, they actually admitted that. Like, we heard it firsthand. They admitted that.
Right. Right. Well, that's where one of the things, and I'm sure you're going to get into it here with the next 5, the first 5 steps. But, often when they're coming through, they're like, oh, we're a neighbor. We're not, we're not. Yeah.
They
interested.
know.
We're just walking through because we want to see about the house, or we're already working with someone.
That's the biggest
Right.
one.
Yeah.
We have an agent. We have an agent because they know that you'll just let them go.
Right.
So I teach my team and other people that that's their popcorn, and we're not going to buy their popcorn. It doesn't matter what they say when they walk in the door. My agents will go through the steps anyway.
Right. And let's dig right in.
All
Let's
right.
talk about them. So step number 1, meet and greet. And then you have in parentheses, personality profiling and mirror and match.
Yes. So personality profiling and mirroring and matching is one of my favorite topics that I teach. That's actually as part of my 2nd day advanced training, where I can teach you how to narrow down the type of personality that somebody is within the first 10 seconds they walk in the door, and then mirroring and matching them. Now, when you meet and greet somebody when they walk in the door, everybody has been taught that you walk over and shake their hand. Well, here's the thing. When they walk into an open house, they're expecting you to be a salesperson. If you walk over and shake their hand, you're proving to them that you're a salesperson.
You're acting like a salesperson.
You're acting like one.
Right, right.
So how do you be different than everybody else? To disarm them. Because the whole idea of the first 5 steps is to disarm them.
Bring their task tension down.
Exactly.
Right.
So that they'll start to open up. So some of my agents, including me, when I do open houses, I'm intimidating. We have a table with 4 chairs, 2 on each side, with our laptop up and everything else, almost like a consult area.
So 2 on each side, meaning that you and a team member on one side of the table, you have your laptop, your other things there, but there's 2 chairs for buyers to sit down.
Exactly.
On the other side.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And so when they walk
what size
in,
table? Is it the skinny one or is it a big one?
No, we do the regular size one.
So like a 6 foot,
Yep.
like Costco, Sam's Club,
Yep.
like fold up table.
Exactly.
Okay.
With a black tablecloth.
Black tablecloth.
Yep.
Does it have your logo on it or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
We keep it simple, and that way
So Party City. Any
anywhere.
black tablecloth? Okay.
Target, I think, is one of the ones that we found that was like one of the best prices. Like,
okay.
You can get them for like $8.
Okay. Black tablecloth.
Yep. Black tablecloth, very important because you want it to look professional, but not overdone. And a lot of us will stay seated at the table when they walk in so that we're not bombarding them.
Right.
Especially because I have an intimidating personality. Okay. I'm tall. I guess I look intense, I've been told. So when they walk in, even if I'm being goofy, I'm still kind of intimidating to them. So half of my agents stay seated and half of them will stand up and kind of just be standing over by the table. But we just greet them when they come in. Thank you so much for coming in. How did you hear about us today? Was it all those signs we put out? And then we usually laugh because we have 20 to 25 open house signs per open house. So yeah, they're bombarded when they're coming through looking for us.
Right.
And then, we joke with them a little bit and we kind of stay back so that we're not intimidating them.
Right. Now I've heard you talk also about your dress,
Mm-hmm.
like how you are dressed, right?
I've had a couple of agents that I've had to dress down a little bit. I had a couple of agents start and they were always like in dresses or suits or things like that. And the reality of it is you want to match the people that are coming into your open houses. So if you're in a higher end area, yes, definitely dress a little higher end. If you're in a more laid back area, like most of our city is, you want to dress like maybe a man in a polo.
Approachable.
You want to be
versus,
approachable and not intimidating, because you don't want to look like a salesperson.
Right.
So, and that's a big thing. And you know, I have had many conversations with my agents about, you know, dress how you're comfortable, but make sure you're matching your audience.
And that's so key, the matching your audience part, because I do know, for example, if you're down in Key West, Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to match the environment, match your customer, and dress differently than you know, if you're in a metro area, you know, in a city center or something like that, you're going to dress differently. But the purpose of that is so that you are not intimidating, again, bringing their task level or their tension level down.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So and that's pretty much with the meet and greet. I mean, we keep it super simple. We keep it non-invasive. We don't start asking them a bunch of questions. We just kind of let them stand for a minute and take it all in and realize that we're their friend.
Got it. Okay. So is the door open? Is the door closed to the open house?
It just depends on what the weather is like. I mean, here in the summer, we can't have the doors open.
Hot.
I mean, it would be way too hot.
And if it's wintertime and snowing somewhere, obviously you can't keep the door open.
Exactly.
So
that doesn't matter. We have a cute little sign on the door that says, please come in.
Oh, so you have a sign on the outside.
Yep. It just says, please come in.
Okay.
So that they know that they can walk in the door. Exactly.
Again. Okay, great.
Exactly.
And what does that look like? Is it just a piece of paper taped, or what is it?
So Mariah creates them with our logo, and then she has them laminated.
Okay.
And then they will tape them to the door, or sometimes they'll put like those little felt little things on there, like if it's a gate or something like that.
Right.
So that whatever we need to do to get it to stick. Got it. So that they can just walk in.
But when they're walking up to the front door, you want them to see that right there, and then just come on in. Okay. So then opening up, they open up the door, they come in. Are you in the foyer? Are you in the, like, where are you in the kitchen? So they have to walk all the way into the house, or living room, or how does that work? And I know it's different in every home. I'm just trying to get a feel.
For the most part, they're all set up exactly the same. And we usually will sit in the very front room so that they see us right away.
Okay.
And they usually will walk right over to our table.
Okay.
And which is great, because we're sitting there, they're talking to us. Very rarely will they try to walk past us.
Gotcha.
Because we're so low key.
Right. They're going to sneak right by without even saying a word.
and it's funny, because if they do, like, we'll holler at them. We'll be like, hey, how are you? I got to tell you the story of the home. So, which is the next step.
Let's get into that. Let's do that. Point number 2, the story of the home and the survey. And this is one of those things that, again, your team experienced with that agent who heard this and a couple of days later applied it to their business.
Absolutely.
And tell them the story. Tell them how that.
All right.
Tell them what you do. I don't want to take you off what you're trying to communicate.
So we always have our clipboard in our hands at this point with our survey and a pen that we're going to hand them. And that's how we set it up. So they're not surprised when we pick it up and hand it to them. It's already there. They're not surprised by anything.
So to describe that to all of you, I think I have a slide. Let me look forward. Okay. For those of you that follow on YouTube, the TKay Group, they've created this survey that is printed on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it asks some simple questions. It has room for the contact information of the buyer coming through, or whoever it is that's coming through. And they have this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper on a clipboard. So they'll literally have about 25 clipboards at an open house?
No, actually, we'll only have like 3 or 4.
Oh, okay.
Because usually you don't have more than that walking through the house at one time. So as they bring them back, we take off the first sheet, put it aside. It's loaded up with several sheets.
Okay. So, but you'll have a couple clipboards sitting there with this on it. And then they actually give the clipboard with a pen or a pencil, or what do you use?
We use a pen.
Pen.
Yep.
Okay.
We hand them a pen.
And then you hand it to the prospect. So,
but not with the story of the home.
I get it.
So
you back up. I'm getting ahead.
All right. So with the story of the home, the reason we tell the story of the home is because people want to know. They want to hear why somebody is selling. More so it's because people are nosy. So you kind of appeal to that side of them when you're telling a story. But when we give them a compelling story, they're walking through the home and they're looking at it as somebody's home now, possibly theirs, instead of just a property.
Right.
So we make it personal.
Right.
Okay. So I will give you an example of a compelling story.
Okay.
And this is a different one than you've heard.
Right.
Okay. So when people walk in, hello, thank you for coming in. How did you find us? Well, I'm going to tell you the story of the home today, and then I'm going to set you free. Is that okay? Of course, they're going to say yes. Well, the people that own this home apparently were the party couple in the neighborhood. They built out the home so that they could entertain, and you'll see that as you walk through. The backyard is vast as well, and they even put a pool in this yard so that they could have outdoor parties in the summer. Now, apparently, they had some problems, and they parted ways, sadly, from what the neighbors have told us. An investor purchased the property and completely renovated it with all high-end fixtures and cabinets and everything. And these floors are actually the vinyl plank flooring so that they have a little bit of give because of the area that we're in. So let us know what you think about all of that as you're walking through. I happen to have a survey that the sellers have asked me to have you fill out. Your sign-in is at the bottom. Now, if you don't want me to contact you, please let me know.
Okay.
And then I set them free.
Okay. So you actually use those words every time.
Yep, every time.
I want to tell you the story of the home, and I'm going to set you free,
Mm-hmm.
type of a thing. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. And I've heard you say it before too, where you're even like, wait, I want to tell you the story about the home.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely. We stop them. The story of the home is one of the most important steps before they go through. But more importantly, what we're doing after the meet and greet is we're setting up their order of the day. So when I set them free, I'm telling them now, when you're finished, please bring this back to me. Mm-hmm. They're going to come back to me at that point. Right. And a lot of times they'll actually stand in front of me and circle while they're standing there, fill out their information in front of me so that then I can start, asking them questions.
Right.
Okay. The other part of that is many people have told me that they do not like agents following them around a home. We have found that people will stay in our open houses for 45 minutes looking at the home because we've given them the space to be able to evaluate it on their own with no pressure.
Right. Yep.
So we actually covered story step 2 and step 3 in that because they kind of go together.
Gotcha. But real quick on the story,
mm-hmm.
The story is unique to every single home.
Absolutely.
And in all your years of doing open houses, have you ever not been able to come up with a compelling and interesting story?
Oh no, we will find a way.
You're going to find it.
We always ask, we do a lot of open houses for other HomeSmart agents. Mm-hmm. And so all of my agents call the agents, and they are actually told that in their initial email. Our agents will be calling you to get the story of the home. Right. We've actually had some agents tell us the story is not important. I'm not telling you. Well, let me tell you right now, that's ridiculous. If we're asking, there's a reason we're asking. Right. So we will actually go to the neighbors. And we will ask the neighbors, so what can you tell me about who used to live here? Like, what happened? Mm-hmm. And the neighbors love to give you information about the other neighbors that moved out of the neighborhood.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and the best thing for us is when we have, we do a lot of vacant open houses, but it's also great when we can actually meet a seller and we ask them, do you mind if you share, why you're moving and what the story is behind the home and what you've loved about it while you've lived here so that we can share that.
Can I put you on the spot and ask you to tell a second story just as an example so it really sinks in for everyone? So the one
with the couple,
all the amenities in the home that he handcrafted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Right. So the story of this home is that there's a couple here with a young child. You'll see their pictures throughout. Now, I met them at the bank when they were looking at potentially building onto the home. This man, as I was here at his listing appointment, had shared everything that he had done to the home. You'll notice as you walk through that he put in new windows, new cabinetry. He put this amazing shower in the master. The Pebble Tech pool in the back is brand new. And I think you'll appreciate everything that he did because he loved this house so much. Now, I had to ask him because when I was here doing the listing appointment, he was showing me where he was going to put the swing set. So I had to ask him, why am I here? You love this house so much. And he said, well, my wife shared with me that she wants to have another baby. So she wants a bigger house. and I'm pretty heartbroken about this, but if we can agree on a home, then I have agreed to move into a bigger one. So 27 homes later, this couple finally agreed on a home, which was no easy task, and they're actually moving in next week. So we are on the market as of this weekend. Please walk through. Tell me what you love about the home. Tell me what you don't like about the home. Be careful what you don't like about the home, because I actually will share this with him.
Right.
And I'll see you when you get finished.
I love that's so engaging.
It is.
It's just, and it's real.
It is.
And it's real. So that's why I guess the point that I want everyone to learn from you is every home can have a story that is compelling, and it is important to the process. It's important to the buyer. It's important to the seller. So.
And that home, interestingly enough, we had 4 offers the first day. I wrote 2 of them, and it is still the record highest price per square foot in that neighborhood a year and a half later.
Well, that speaks to all the care and the investment that homeowner made in his own home with all the upgrades and amenities and just everything that he did, right?
And it was that the people that came in, every single offer came in from the open house that weekend. And it was because they appreciated knowing everything that he did.
Well, that's one thing you highlight, though, the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I often see agents make a mistake of is they don't identify and articulate enough of the value in the home to get that highest price offer. And you take the time to dig in, and then you can identify that and place a value on it. And that's how you can get that higher price of the home.
I also want to make something else clear, which you haven't actually heard me say before.
Okay.
Most agents like to have flyers of the property and everything else right there with the plano and all of the details of the property. We do not give that at our open houses.
Oh,
we want a reason to be able to email it to them.
Oh, great idea.
Yeah, awesome. We only give them a tour flyer of all of our open houses for the day.
Okay.
They have the basic information of square foot, bedrooms, price.
Right. Yep.
And if they want more details about it, then we're like, well, I'd be happy to email that to you. And they will happily give us their email address.
Which speaks to the survey again, because right there on the survey is their contact information, and it's a reason for them then to put in their email.
Exactly.
Right. So that's a great point. All right. So one quick question. I know you talked about set them 3. We'll get to that, dig into that a little deeper, but real quick, what happens when somebody gives you the clipboard back and maybe it's circled, but there's no contact information?
When they do that, it actually goes into step 6.
Or it says Mickey Mouse.
Right. It actually goes into step 6 with discovery at that point.
Gotcha.
And the further training of making them feel pain while we're finding out that they're just driving around looking at open houses and things like that, so that we can fix the problem.
Gotcha.
So we'll create a problem so that we can fix the problem, and that's how we get them to give us their information, but it's on their terms. They actually typically will say, oh, you know what, let me give you my information.
Right. Good enough. Perfect. All right. So to set them free, let them come back to you. I mean, that's kind of the key, right?
Absolutely.
Is letting them come back to you. And also when they come back to you, it changes a little bit of the dynamic too, right?
Because we don't chase them around.
Right.
Okay. So we're not chasing them around. We're giving them freedom to look through the home. Occasionally they'll pop out. They'll ask us a couple of questions here and there, and then they'll keep looking on their journey.
Right.
And we don't chase them.
Right.
So by the time they come back, they're handing the clipboard to us. And that's when we can actually start kind of asking them some questions, so what did you think? How did it go?
Right.
Is this kind of what you were looking for, or what you thought it would be from the outside? And we start looking for the commonality.
Right.
Okay. So maybe at that point, I really love your shoes. I was noticing as you were walking by, and I thought they were absolutely beautiful.
Right.
Oh, thank you so much. Women love that. Or if you compliment their nails or whatever.
Right.
And then I hear an accent. Where are you guys from?
Right. So step 4 here up on the screen for those of you on YouTube, again, build commonality. That's what you're talking about. So anything that you can do, and talk about your team, like how do they're trained in how to do this, right?
They are, and they all came to me pretty much as brand new licensees this year. And so teaching them how to build that commonality, finding out where people are from, finding out like maybe they have a sports shirt on and you know the sports team, whatever you can find about them. And the other part of the building the commonality is where the mirroring and matching comes in. Okay. Very important. If they speak slowly, you speak slowly. If they speak fast, you speak fast. If they are standing there crossing their arms, you cross your arms. They will inevitably drop them. And kind of mirroring and matching who they are, because people like doing business with people that are like themselves. It's a known fact. So that's the time that you're able to match their voice inflection, pull back your own personality if you need to, or maybe build up your personality a little bit to match who they are so that they feel comfortable with you.
Right. Great. So point number 5 are the first 5 steps, right? Break the pact.
Okay,
what
so
does that mean?
The pact is that popcorn that they told themselves before they walked into your open house. Okay. So we didn't believe the popcorn. We still went through our steps. I can't tell you how many times people will break the pact on their own. Okay. All of a sudden they feel so comfortable with you. You've mirrored and matched them. You've given them space. You've done everything you said you would do.
Built commonality.
Build commonality. Exactly.
Engaging, right?
And so a lot of times they'll be standing there and they'll be talking to you. And all of a sudden they'll be like, I don't really have an agent. Oh, you don't. Whatever they say, however they break the pact, you give them permission. You don't give them a hard time about it. You can even say to them, oh yeah, people tell me that all the time. We just don't even listen anymore. It's okay.
Right.
You know, make them feel like they're like everybody else.
And you have a big smile on your face right now, and you can actually hear that through the microphone, right? But no, it's true. But that's true. Like, oh yeah, people tell us that all the time. You got a big grin on your face.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, it's friendly. It's engaging. It's more commonality, right?
It's more commonality, and it's allowing them to be them.
Right.
And that's what breaking the pact is getting them to start opening up. Because at this point, if you've done your first 5 steps the right way, their task tension is at the bottom now. Right. And now they're ready to actually speak to you and open up and be real for the first time. Right. Which is then what leads you into the next steps to get them to an actual commitment.
Got it. Wow. These are 5 powerful steps. And when you look at them as a group, you know, meet and greet, the story of the home, the survey, set them free, right? Make them come back to you, build commonality. And then it results in this breaking of the pact, which opens up the door for everything else. So in a way, it seems kind of obvious, but it's not. I'm really glad you came in today to share it with everyone.
And I want to give you one more tip.
Okay.
That we haven't talked about before either, and it's in step 6.
Okay.
Step 6 is discovery.
Okay.
The biggest fatal error that any salesperson makes is trying to sell people when they're asking them questions. So when you're asking them questions, you let them answer them and you ask more questions. You get to 2nd and 3rd levels so that you get the truth and you're listening to them. And if you start selling in that step, you will lose them.
Right. Wow. Well, thank you for being here today to share these with us. For those of you that are throughout the country, please, if you ever get the opportunity in Arizona, come visit one of Tina's classes, attend the flyer. I put it again up on the screen here. And also, you know, we'll have you back for future episodes.
Yes.
You're just such a wealth of knowledge, but more importantly, I love your success. I love your passion for helping people. One of the things I learned about you today is the passion for helping 1,000 families. And now you've moved on to helping 1,000 families, another 1,000 families additional in a different way.
And you know, what's more funny about that is my passion is growing people to their full potential at this point. That's why I came up with the steps. That's why I take new agents on my team, because I want to see people move past that minimum average that agents do of 5 transactions a year, 25,000 a year, whatever it is.
Right.
Let's take agents and truly teach them how to sell real estate, not just be in real estate, so that they can realize their own dreams.
Right.
So I wanted to say about the workshops, because you guys are listening to this podcast, anytime anybody wants to sign up for my workshops, they are on the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month for the next 5 months.
Okay.
Here in Arizona.
Okay.
If you mention this podcast, you will get a $50 discount.
Okay.
Okay. So that would bring your total to $449.
Okay.
Also, I will be traveling to different parts of the country, delivering this as well. And we will have minimums. So, if you can get together with a bunch of people and you want a seminar in your area,
Right.
we can definitely talk about that. And I'll give some heavy discounts if there's groups of people in one workshop.
Right. That's great. Well, there's some interest for you already up in Colorado after last week. So we're going to have to talk about that offline as well. So
I'm excited about that.
That's great.
That's my home state, by the way.
Is it really?
Yes. Fort Collins.
Awesome. Fort Collins. All right. Colorado State University, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, hey, thank you everyone for joining us here today on the Real Estate Podcast. And thank you, Tina, for coming in and just sharing with everyone your wealth of knowledge. And we hope that all of you in the audience will join us back for future episodes. But in the meantime, how can people find you on Instagram, Facebook, and is there information about these classes as well there?
Yes.
Okay.
They can actually find me on Facebook, number one, and it's Tina Valient, super simple. And then I can direct them to the other pages with the 16 steps of the real estate sales process. There is a Facebook page for that as well.
Okay.
And that has all future seminars and workshops on it.
Okay.
That will also be releasing anything that we do in January with filming of the trainings and everything that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
It'll also have the future book release, which we're targeting June for Relationship Real Estate to come out.
Okay. Relationship Real Estate.
Relationship Real Estate.
And is that your first book or the?
No, my first book is being released in January, and that is for women, called Finding Your Voice.
Oh, okay. All right. Finding Your Voice. Okay. So we'll have to have you come back and talk on that topic too.
Sure. Absolutely.
So for all of you that are listening, I put my email address up on the screen here. It's T Sumney, T as in Todd, SUMNEY @homesmart.com. Send me an email about topics you would like to have us feature on the show, or topics you'd like to have Tina back on and talk about. And I'm interested to hear about your book in January. So we'll have to have you back to talk about that. And you all let me know if that's what you want us to do. Let me know and send me an email. So anyway, all of you, thank you for joining us here today on the Real Estate Podcast. What's your Instagram handle? I
don't even know my Instagram handle, but you can reach me at Tina at TKay.com.
Tina at
TKay Group.
TKay Group.
Okay, Tina at TKayGroup.com.
Tina at the TKay Group, and the K is spelled KAY. So
that's
it's
correct.
TKayGroup.com.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. So thank you all for joining us today here on the Real Estate Podcast. I'm Todd Sumney here with Tina Valient. Thank you, Tina. And we'll see you all back at we'll see all of you back at future episodes. So see you soon.
Thanks, Todd.
Take care.
Like what you're hearing on The Real Estate? Tell your friends about us. Tell them to check out all of our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And don't forget to send any topics you want us to tackle to therealestate@homesmart.com.